Ambassador
Thank you,
James Woolsey is Donald Trump's campaign foreign policy advisor and also former director of the CIA, and he joins us now. Ambassador, there was a big moment early in the debate yesterday when I guess the moderators tried to pin Mike Pence against Donald Trump on their approach to the Middle East, more specifically Syria. You're the Middle East advisor. Where did the confusion come in, and what exactly is now the campaign's plan?
I think both are headed toward focusing on safe areas along the borders, say, of Syria, where you can have some refuge and could protect it from the air, the refugees, in, let's say, in camps or perhaps even in somewhat more permanent accommodations for a time. Problem with that is, suppose Russia decides to bomb something right along the edge and you start to get in a confrontation between Russia and us. But frankly, the way things have been going with the U.S. government and its decision-making, it seems pretty unlikely that President Obama is going to take as decisive a step as this. We've basically been kind of sitting on our hands at best.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the place is a ticking time bomb, but the next president is going to have to deal with it. And over the weekend in Yemen, for instance, you have 2 missiles sent out, fired toward the USS Mason. You've got this whole big mess up where Saudi Arabia bombs a funeral service that included high-ranking political officials and military officers. I mean, the place is an absolute mess. Can we take a complete hands-off approach to this and more or less say, hey, it doesn't matter if Russia goes in there and takes over the region as long as we don't lose any more lives and humans? And money,
not effectively. No, we cannot. We either have to, I suppose, get completely out, which I think would be a disaster. Or we've got to exert some control and some American savvy and ability to use force if we have to. We are the kid on the playground that everybody is pushing and shoving and taking his lunch money right now.
And we're the biggest kid on the playground at that. I mean, so it's, you know, it's one of these modern-day bullying scenarios where the big baby Huey, big 6-foot kid getting pushed around by these peep squeaks. But what is it? Are we afraid of our own power, or are we just afraid to get in there anymore because of public opinion?
I think President Obama thinks of all of this as sort of as if he's to some degree a citizen of the world. And the best thing would be not to have any force used at all. I think that's the only explanation behind the terrible decision, I think, that he made several years ago of drawing a red line in the sand, telling Assad and the Syrians, under no circumstances can you cross that and use chemical weapons against your own people. They crossed it, and President Obama shrugged essentially and handed the whole problem to the Russians.
Yeah, he blinked.
That's just so weak that we're kind of a laughingstock.
By the way, was Hillary Clinton Secretary of State when that line was drawn or when it was proposed? Do you recall? Because at the debate last night she says she wasn't, but fact checkers since then said no, that she actually was. I just thought maybe you know.
Go with the fact checker. They have much better records than I do.
Okay, now, so again, this is a chess game. We're losing badly. They've taken our queen. They've taken our gumption, if you will. The next president, presumably, is your guy, Donald Trump. He comes in. Your advice to him out the gate with respect to the Middle East, Russia, and other bad actors or would-be bad actors?
Well, I think you start by adopting Teddy Roosevelt's general principle of speak softly and carry a big stick. The Obama administration has been doing the reverse. The stick has gotten weaker and weaker, our military capability, and whenever they start to think of doing something, sending a few troops in, whatever, they announce it and have a public discussion about it and announce that it's part of the narrative or whatever. They've just got it backwards. Yeah. We need to be much stronger militarily in the Middle East, and we need to not give any indication of what we're going to do until we decide to do it. When you have somebody like the Houthis in Yemen firing at an American destroyer, I think one thing we would want to do relatively early would be to make life quite miserable for the folks in Houthi headquarters and military facilities.
Right.
We shouldn't be bombing civilians, but the Houthis are controlling a large part of Yemen, and they're tools of the Iranians and tools of the biggest terrorist state in the world. And they shot at our ship. But this is just ridiculous for the U.S. to just kind of say, well, somebody ought to deal with it.
Yeah, the lack of respect for America just knows no boundaries these days. Ambassador, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Good to be with you.